America has been an experiment of whether the people can govern themselves. So that means balancing tension. The real threat to this country is not immigrants. It's not ICE. It's not activism. Legality does not give us permission to abandon our humanity. And humanity does not give us permission to abandon the law. Both must exist together. I'm not here as a conservative. I'm not here as a liberal. I'm not here as pro-immigrant or anti-immigrant. I'm something far more dangerous to modern politics, and that is a person who refuses to choose a side. Most Americans are not extremists. Most Americans do not want open borders. Most Americans do not want to watch children being ripped away from their families while politicians argue on television. Most Americans are somewhere in the middle, and the middle is very tired. Tired of being told that if we believe in borders, then we lack compassion and human dignity. We're tired of being told that if we believe in compassion, that we hate our country. That's a false choice. I refuse it. So let's begin with two truths that are not political. Truth number one, a sovereign nation does have a right to enforce its laws and its borders. Truth number two, a government does not have a right to enforce its laws or borders in a way that violates human dignity or due process. Both are true. If you deny the first, you don't have a country. If you deny the second, you don't deserve one. And that's the tension that we're living in. Instead of solving it, it's been monetized and leveraged. So let's be honest about what people are reacting to. When Americans see footage of ICE raids, children crying, parents being detained, they don't see statute sections and federal codes or immigration laws. They see what seems to be cruelty. And they ask themselves a very human question. Is this what we stand for? Is this who we are? Now, let me say something equally honest. When other Americans see millions of people entering the country or remaining outside of lawful process, they don't see that as compassion. They don't see that as justice. They see that as instability. The system that they depend on to protect them is overwhelmed. Communities begin to get anxious, and their leadership looks very incompetent. And they ask, is this sustainable? Both sides are reacting to some type of fear. One is the fear of disorder. The other is the fear of injustice. And those fears, without some type of structure, turns into extremism, whether left or right. Now let's address uncomfortable questions. Yes, colonists seized this land from indigenous peoples by force. That's history. But that history does not mean that law has no meaning or application today. What that history does mean is that the law must be applied more carefully today. Because when a nation has a history of injustice, it doesn't earn the right to repeat it. If anything, it earns the obligation to do better. We can't undo the past, but we damn sure can choose not to weaponize it against the future or against the present. This episode isn't about immigrants versus Americans. This is about whether we are capable of designing a system that is orderly, that's enforceable, that's humane, that's stable. Because right now we have the worst combination possible. We have a porous or very open system in the front end. We have a very backlogged system in the middle. And then we have a punitive and disciplinary system at the back end. That's not compassion. That's not governance. That's dysfunction. And dysfunction does not benefit the people. It does not benefit citizens. It benefits the feds, it benefits the state, and it benefits politicians. So here's how we move from a sense of protest and outrage to a sense of power. Because too many Americans believe that the only solution that we have is to wait on Congress or to elect the next president. No. The people have inherent political powers, and they have tools, real tools, ballot initiatives, referendums, local ordinances, budget controls, oversight mandates. We can't rewrite federal immigration law at the state level, but we can ban local contracts with private detention facilities. Because justice should not be privatized, it should not be monetized. We can fund legal defense for detained parents and children. We can require transparency in ICE cooperation. We can mandate rapid bond hearings in local custody cases. We can protect children through some type of emergency guardianship protocols. That is self-governance. That's not hashtags. That's not tribal or identity politics or warfare. That's self-government. That's structure. Now let me answer both sides very directly. To the people who say, deport them all, it's the law. I submit to you that a mass political spectacle is not law enforcement. Order is created through predictability and accountability, not through fear. If enforcement is inconsistent, if it's backlogged, if it's politically weaponized, that's not a flex, that is dysfunction. That is unstable. To the people who say no human is illegal, abolish ICE, I submit to you that human beings have dignity. Yes. But governments also have jurisdiction. That's also yes. And pretending that sovereignty is optional does not create justice. If anything, it creates more dysfunction. It creates collapse. And collapse always harms the people who need the system or the most vulnerable the most. And to the people who say, well, they should have come legally, I submit to you, many have tried. I don't know if you've ever gone through the system, but it's very slow. It's complicated, and oftentimes it's unrealistic. But the deeper point there is legality does not give us permission to abandon our humanity. And humanity does not give us permission to abandon the law. Both must exist together. So here's a platform that Americans in the middle can create unity around. Number one, secure the border. Order is not hatred. Order is governance. Order is structure. Number two, fix the process. A slow system is an unjust system. Number three, protect the families, protect the children. Detention should be a rare, a reviewable, and a humane process for non-violent people and parents. And number four, enforce employer accountability, because we cannot blame migrants while rewarding the exploitation of their labor. If both parties, if both sides, if all people agreed to those four principles, tomorrow the debate would calm immediately. But calm debates aren't what win elections. Division does. Dysfunction does. Disorder does. You get it? The real threat to this country is not immigrants. It's not ICE. It's not activism. The real threat is a public that cannot speak to each other without choosing a side, without holding two truths at once. Because once we reduce this to identity politics, we stop being citizens. We become enemies. We become opposition. And enemies do not reform systems. Enemies defend their own territory against all and everyone else. America has been an experiment. It's an experiment of whether the people can govern themselves. So that means balancing tension, polarity, freedom, order, compassion, law, security, dignity. We don't have to choose between them. We shouldn't have to. We can, in fact, demand that we have a law without cruelty, that we have compassion without chaos, that we have borders without hatred and division, and that we have due process without delusion or entitlement. That's not left. That's not right. That's responsible. That's American. And if we can remember that, if we can organize around structures instead of trends and slogans and hashtags, then we don't have to wait for politicians to fix this. We can fix this ourselves. And that, people, is what self-governance looks like. Let's stop getting played and start getting rich. You dig?